This video is sponsored by NVIDIA AI. Would you rather try to survive snakes on a plane or croc-infested waters during a flood? How about a mall with zombies running rampant or the world's most dangerous prison full of hardened criminals? We asked you, our viewers, to answer some of the craziest would-you-rather scenarios we could think of. And let me tell you, you guys did not disappoint with your answers. We'll explore the likelihood of surviving these situations, if it's even possible, and talk about what you guys would rather do for each scenario. Hopefully, none of us ever find ourselves in one of these epic predicaments, but hey, in the meantime, we can crowdsource our survival techniques to prepare for the worst. Drop some comments below with your favorite would-you-rather survival scenarios, and we might use them for our next video. Also, make sure to like and subscribe so you'll be ready to survive some of the deadliest hurdles life throws at you. Has a snake ever really attacked someone on a plane? What's the best zombie survival hack? And what's the record for the longest fall in an elevator? We asked you guys, would you rather try surviving a load of venomous snakes on a plane or crocodile-infested waters during a flood? And the overwhelming majority, 74%, voted for the venomous snakes on a plane. I'm not sure if Sam Jackson persuaded you guys, but I would have to agree. I prefer the snakes.
I have had it with these snakes on this plane.
Is it likely to happen? No, but never say never. A pilot in South Africa had to make an emergency landing when he discovered a Cape Cobra in his cockpit.
Goddamn snake, honey.
The Cape Cobra is one of the deadliest and most venomous snakes in South Africa. One bite can lead to paralysis and cause issues with your breathing, nervous system, and heart. If untreated, the bite will certainly kill you. Usually a ventilator will treat most cases, but in more severe situations, antivenom is required. Another flight saw a man sneak an Egyptian cobra on board. The cobra then escaped, causing an emergency landing. Good thing, too, because one bite from this cobra could kill you in 15 minutes. But these are just individual snakes on a plane. If a whole bunch of them got loose, it's important to remember that some of the snakes would likely attack each other, as they could be territorial. But that can make them even more aggressive, too. If you're bitten by one, depending on whether it released venom and how much got into your system, you may have time to make an emergency landing and get antivenom. Looking at some comments, Denny Alley 7479 said, "I would rather take my chances parachuting out of the plane."
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Let's just hope your parachute works. Don't worry, we'll get into that later. And Treffer Treforigan, which I hope I said right, wrote, "Samuel Jackson got your back."
Everybody strap in. I'm about to open some windows.
I mean, that's true, but you'd have to be pretty lucky to share a flight with Sammy J. In this case, I think I'd prefer a herpetologist or a doctor. Now let's talk crocs during a flood. I mean, they're aggressive, territorial, and massive. They can swim up to 22 miles per hour and have rows of razor-sharp teeth. They're also nocturnal, so at night, in the water, when you're cold and can't see anything, they'd be slowly planning their attack. It's important to keep in mind crocs can reach lengths of more than 20 feet and weigh more than 3,000 pounds. So if you think you'll be able to fight back, good luck. Maybe you could take one, but dozens? I don't think so. Now the good news is, this is pretty unlikely, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Like if the flood were to hit a crocodile sanctuary and you happen to be in the water, well, let's just hope you're a strong swimmer. Especially because crocs love to drown their prey first, doing their signature death roll. Yikes. And if you happen to live in Florida during this flood, gators would also give you little chance of survival. Your best bet for either animal is to stay calm, be quiet, and keep your distance. Swim to some floating debris if you can, preferably underwater, to reduce any splashing. Now let's see what you guys said. BXM Studios said, no one said you have to be in the water during the flood.
My boy's wicked smart.
I mean, yeah, you got a point there, but then that kind of defeats the whole question here. Colton R. Magby said, all I need is a turbojet engine at full afterburner, and those Crocs will smell nothing but jet fuel. Now that's a movie scene I'd love to see. Here at How to Survive, we're all about survival, even when it comes to everyday tasks like surviving the tough demands of being a video creator. But thankfully, with InVideo AI, you can save countless hours of writing, recording, and even editing. With InVideo AI as your co-pilot, you can create and edit entire videos with just a few simple text prompts. Start by telling it about the type of video you want. The more detailed the prompt, the better. And then select the right audience and platform for your video. And presto! InVideo AI will create an engaging script, find high-quality footage relevant to your videos, add subtitles, and even create a human-sounding voiceover to get you started.
Thrashing around makes you look like a tasty fish snack.
Need it in a different language? No problem.
Mais s'agiter dans tous les sens vous fait ressembler.
Wow, sounds pretty good. And the best part? You can upload a simple 30-second recording of your voice in any language you want, and it can clone it. If a shark gets too close for comfort, get defensive. Pretty mind-blowing, right? Want to give it a try? You can get started for free and create up to 4 videos a week. But if you're looking to clone your voice and create high-quality videos without a watermark, then I highly recommend getting the paid plan like I have. For only $20 a month, you'll have access to millions of royalty-free stock footage clips and save hundreds of dollars every month that you'd otherwise spend on editing tools, stock footage subscriptions, and more. Head over to the link in the description and use my code HOWTOSURVIVE50 to get twice the number of video generation credits in your first month. And now, back to the show. Alright guys, if you think this one's bad, you're in for a treat. Would you rather try to survive a mall full of zombies or a Supermax prison full of criminals? Ugh, that's a tough call. Well, the majority of you thinks a mall full of zombies is the safer bet. Of course, this is very situational. It depends on how fast the zombies move. Are they able to climb things? How big is the mall? And most importantly, are there any sales happening? Well, for this scenario, we're talking the slow but steady Walking Dead kind of zombies. And let's say we're in a typical sized mall. If you're in the United States, some malls would have stores selling weapons, and that would certainly help you. Your best bet is to find a safe zone. Luckily, malls have lots of food and beverages to keep you going for a while, so stock up. You'll want to barricade any entrance points and keep some weapons close at hand, preferably melee-style weapons like a bat, a knife, or a golf club, whatever you can muster. Even these 2 weapons right here. Guns should be an emergency backup. A gunshot could alert the entire horde and have them swarming around you in seconds. Not good. If you're able to make it outside, your best bet is to cover yourself in stinky zombie guts and do your best zombie impression. Or you could do the Michael Jackson zombie and just give him a little. Find a vehicle if you can and get the heck out of there. Unfortunately, if you are bitten, you're likely going to die. But you'd come back to life as someone dead. What are you doing? All right, horror fans, we had to go to the comments to see what you guys had to say about this. Anthony Albright 7029 said, depends on the type of zombies. We talking about slow-ass Walking Dead zombies, or sprinting zombies from Dawn of the Dead, or super fast, steroided out zombies from World War Z? If these were the World War Z zombies, you better hope you're immune to them or have Brad Pitt's luck. After all, this is real life, not a movie, so there's no guarantees. Zahiri Coach said, at least the dead don't play mind tricks with you. That's what you think. All jokes aside, guys, if one of these zombies was a bestie of yours, that could still mess you up pretty badly. What are you gonna do, just take off your best friend's head? I mean, I know some days I want to, but that's besides the point. That could still mess you up pretty bad, but maybe not as badly as a Supermax prison full of criminals. You do not want to find yourself in this kind of jail. If these criminals are in the most secure prisons in the world, well, you know they've done some ungodly things. Prison rules are different from the real world. It's kill or be killed. But going through some of your replies, you've made good points both for and against the prison option. Let's see what you had to say. Joe Chalmers, 8428 said, in a Supermax prison, you are in your cell 23 hours a day. You barely have any contact with anyone besides the guards, so I would choose that. This is a great point, and given that it's maxed security, who knows if you'd be walking around freely and not cuffed in that hour out of your cell. However, inmates can make weapons out of plenty of unsuspecting things, and 23 hours in your cell every day gives you a lot of time to hone your craft. But if you're planning on escaping and not spending 99% of your remaining days inside a prison cell, you may have a hard time. Corpseman01 said, never been to prison, don't know if you can move around in there without having to worry about a locked door or something. I'd take them all, plenty of weapons there. That's true, a prison will have a lot of locked doors, especially a maximum security prison. You'd probably need like key cards to move around. No thanks. Your best bet for this scenario would be to lay low, make some allies, and keep your mind and body occupied to stay sharp. Okay, let's turn things up a notch and get nuclear. Would you rather attempt to survive the World War II bombing of Hiroshima or the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear power plant meltdown? Yikes, this is a tough one. Two real-life tragedies with many innocent people losing their lives. 7 out of 10 of you voted for the atomic bomb. Really? Oof, okay. Not sure about that, but I'll hear you out. Looking at just the numbers, Hiroshima killed an estimated 140,000 people. Now, that's depending who you ask. In reality, it's quite possible the number is much higher. Chernobyl, on the other hand, was responsible for the immediate death of 2 plant workers and 28 others from acute radiation syndrome, a nearly impossible illness to survive. On top of the 30 dead, nearly 5,000 victims suffered from thyroid cancer, with 15 of them dying. If you're in the vicinity of an atomic bomb explosion, there are no survival tips. I'm not sure any bunker can save you from this sheer power. Well, unless you're Wolverine or maybe Indiana Jones. The bomb dropped on Hiroshima was the equivalent of 16,000 tons of TNT, and to no surprise, it wiped out 90% of the city. With today's advances in technology and science, I could only imagine what kind of destruction the world's smartest, or most evil, people are capable of. Hopefully we never find out, and truthfully, the possibility of it happening again is extremely low, as it would result in mass death across the world. Check out our episode on the true scale of nuclear weapons to give you an idea. Now, if the blast itself didn't get you, the radiation would do you in. So overall, the Chernobyl incident would have a higher chance of survival. It truly depends on where you are in proximity to the explosion. If you're beside the exploding reactor, you'd likely die within seconds. If you're far enough that you don't explode with the reactor, you may still suffer and possibly die from severe burns. But if the burns don't get you, the radiation may cause you to become severely ill. Yet still, with all of these possibilities, your chances of surviving would be higher than making it through an atomic bomb. IEBH, I think, said anyone who thinks they'd survive Hiroshima is tripping. It was dropped without warning. You'd not even have a chance to protect yourself. At least with Chernobyl, you could choose not to stay near a power plant. Larry Aldrich 4351 said, like choosing between the pox or the plague. That might be in our next video. Thank you for that. Great tip. Okay, let's focus on some natural disasters instead. Surely we can survive these, right? Would you rather try to survive a massive tsunami or a volcano eruption? Both would be devastating. But is a tsunami actually more survivable than a volcano? Let's find out. With over 1,500 active volcanoes worldwide, 50 to 70 of them blowing yearly, this situation is quite possible. Some volcanoes are much more dangerous than others. The explosive ones are scarier, and of course, that's what a handful of you chose to try to survive. If you're close to the volcano, being splashed by lava would fry you instantly. But even if you're far away, you'd still need to watch out for ash and flaming rocks. Ash will significantly decrease your visibility and disrupt your breathing. And those flaming rocks? Well, you get the idea. Volcanoes also emit gases that can be deadly, including carbon dioxide and hydrogen chloride. So you'd either suffocate or be poisoned to death. Another painful death is drowning. Tsunamis are scary, reaching speeds of nearly 500 miles per hour and traveling thousands of miles. They are pure destruction. And it's not just one big wave hitting the shore. There can be multiple high waves, also known as crests, coming as fast as every 5 minutes. To no surprise, drowning is the #1 cause of death, but the strong currents can also kill you, especially if the current is carrying a wall of dangerous debris your way. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was the deadliest in history, claiming the lives of more than 230,000 people across 14 countries. Triggered by a major earthquake, its waves reached as high as 100 feet. If you find yourself caught in the waters of a tsunami, you'll want to grab hold of anything that can help you float. Ideally, you evacuate before it hits, but they move quickly and arrive without much warning. Now let's see what you guys had to say about this situation. Tomato Guy 737 said, "I can't survive any of this, but I would choose tsunami because drowning in water is way better than melting in lava." Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. I mean, some people say that drowning can be very peaceful if you kind of just let it happen and just accept it. So I don't find burning alive ever enjoyable. I love my dog 240 said, "A massive tsunami because water is nice." Sure, water is nice until it isn't. But you know what isn't really nice? Gravity. Okay, would you guys rather try to survive in an elevator falling from the top of a skyscraper or falling out of a plane without a parachute? Now, I'm not a big heights guy, so I'd have to side with the majority here. Falling in an elevator, it is. But is that the right call? Elevators claim 27 lives per year on average and injure more than 10,000. Most elevator deaths happen in mine shafts, but if we're specifically talking about a typical office elevator, what are your chances of survival? I'm sure you all thought about jumping right before it hits the ground to reduce the impact, but timing that requires precision, and while it may reduce your speed slightly, it's not enough to save you guys. You also risk hitting your head on the ceiling, and falling at more than 50 miles per hour, no matter where you are, could leave you seriously injured. Squatting or standing with your knees bent is also a bad idea. You'll absorb a lot of the impact, potentially breaking your legs. Also, being parallel to the ground could affect your spine upon impact. Laying on the ground is your safest option. Yes, you can still hit your head, but you'd be absorbing the impact with your bum and back mostly. This could still certainly kill you, but it's your best bet for survival. But it's not impossible to survive. Betty Lou Oliver holds the Guinness World Record for the longest fall survived in an elevator. Yeah, seriously. She fell more than 1,000 feet in 1945 when a plane crashed into the Empire State Building. Now, lucky for her, the elevator cable, which disconnected, coiled at the bottom and acted as a cushion. That may have been what saved her life. But not many people have survived falling out of a plane without a parachute. Believe it or not, it has happened. Again, the survivability here depends on how high you fall from. Julianne Koepka fell from 10,000 feet in the air while still in her seat in 1971 when a thunderstorm ripped the plane she was in half. Landing in the Amazon rainforest, she suffered a broken collarbone, a sprained knee, and gashes around her body. Some argue that being in her seat, which was attached to a row of 2 other seats, acted as a parachute and slowed her fall. Others think it was the updraft from the thunderstorm or the environment of the lush Amazon that cushioned her fall. Now, if you're in a plane cruising at 33,000 feet and you fall out, you'd most likely pass out before you hit the ground. Ice cold temperatures around minus 54 degrees Fahrenheit and unbreathable air give you about 30 seconds to make a decision before you lose consciousness. With your lifeless body falling at speeds of 125 miles per hour, you'd likely have just a few minutes before you hit the ground or water. So not a whole lot of time to regain consciousness. So you have no parachute and 30 seconds to decide how to survive. Good luck with that. But here are some tips. You'll want to avoid hitting water at all costs because from 33,000 feet in the air, it's like falling straight onto concrete. Instead, you want to try to land in a swamp, in trees, or a snowy hillside. And do your best to land on your feet while protecting your head. Yeah, it'll hurt, but my mom always said broken legs are better than a broken head. And based on some of your comments down below, you may think you guys had a bit of a broken head. Days5733 said falling out of a plane because you can see the distance to impact. You'd be bracing yourself for a lifetime in an elevator. Yeah, but isn't the anticipation a part of the fun? Like never knowing when it's gonna happen? XX, the Awoken One XX said, I would rather fall in an elevator as you would have time to climb through the escape hatch before the elevator fell. At the speed you'd be dropping, I'm not sure you'd have the balance or time to do that. This isn't like Mission Impossible. You're not Tom Cruise. I think he's the only one that could do that in time. All right, thanks again everyone for your votes and your comments. Let us know if you guys want another Would You Rather Survive video and drop us some suggestions below. Now, if you're like me and heights freak you out, imagine falling off a roller coaster. We'll swoop into that one on another episode of How to Survive.